Hi everyone, I just wanted to make a quick video giving you some tips about the things that I found helpful in growing my Instagram in the last few months. Now, I gotta say that my Instagram account is not very big, but I have been able to grow it a bit in the last few months. And there are 3 things in particular that have helped me a lot. Okay, tip number 1. Tip number 1 is to put hashtags in your stories. Nowadays, a lot of people don't actually look so much at your feed posts, and a lot more people, especially the ones that follow you, but also a lot of people who don't follow you, they'll check out stories. And if you actually put hashtags in your stories, a lot more people will find you and will find you in terms of the things you're interested in and the things you represent. So what I would recommend in the stories is not only that you post at least 1 or 2 stories each day, but also that you put a little bit of diversity in your stories. Like, say you're a singer. It's obviously important that you show a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on. It's also important that you occasionally share stuff in your stories that has nothing to do with music, like something you're interested in or your pet. And through that you get a lot more diverse hashtags that you can include. And the thing you'll do is you have your story, you make the picture a little bit smaller so that it doesn't fill out the entire screen, and then you just write all the hashtags, you know, the way you'd usually write any text in your stories. And then you go to the colors, and there you have the first on the left, the first before the colors start, that is the one you click. And then you go to the bottom or to the top where you don't have your picture yet. That's why you have to make the picture smaller, so that the hashtags are actually the color of the background. You move your hashtags there, you can make them really tiny. Nobody will know they're there. They'll get you a lot more attention. I can promise you, doing this alone and posting stories on a daily basis has gotten me so much more traffic in the last 2 weeks that I've been doing that. Like 270+% increase, I think it was. So it's really worth trying that out. Tip number 2 is to use hashtags that are specific to your location. Now, that depends a little bit on how big an area you live in. For example, if you live in like a really big city like London or New York, use the city. If you live in a smaller country where there is not very much going on in the field that you're doing, it might be advisable to use the country instead of the city, or even just the area, because there might not even be a hashtag. Like for me, that would be a singer in Austria. And if I use the specific area that I live in currently, there is not even a hashtag for that. So it really depends. Go look it up and see which one makes most sense. And if you live in a really big city, there might even be some sub-hashtags for the areas in the city. And it might be worth including those, because then you get some very specific local attention and people might actually be looking for something like that. And if they look for something like that, they go looking for that for a reason. The second part of this is, specifically if you're not living in an English-speaking country, to include hashtags in your own language, first of all. And secondly, to also include the location hashtags in your language. For me, that would be, as I already said, the singer in Austria would be Sänger in Österreich, which is German. And you can make these smaller and bigger, again, depending on where you live. But it's really important to utilize whatever language you speak and whatever language is spoken in the country that you live in, because that, again, can give you a lot of local attention. And that can then give you opportunities that you might not have thought you would have. So this one is not just about getting noticed. This one is also about potentially even forming connections. The last one I've got, tip number 3, is less to do with gaining attention. It's more when you actually already have that attention. And this is really important because this is how you keep followers. So once somebody follows you, you write them a DM. This is especially helpful for people who do not have massive profiles. If you have over 1 million followers and you're growing quickly, this might not be the tip for you. But if you're like me and you have a really small profile, this is very helpful. And the thing is, you write them a DM. But first, you look at their profile. You scroll through their profile, maybe check out some of their posts or reels. And then you go back and you write them a DM, and the first line is going to be something along the lines of, "Hi, thank you for following," and you write their name in that because people like being addressed by their name. And then you write something very specific that you liked about their profile so that they know that you actually went to their profile and looked at it. And people like getting praised for something that they've potentially put a lot of time in. So you say, for example, "Hi XYZ, thanks for following me. I really like the advice you give in a specific reel." Or you say something about a specific picture that you liked, like the angle it is shot from, or a caption on a specific post that has inspired you. Just be very, very specific about this, but also, very important, be honest. People will know when you're not being honest. And then you cannot establish that connection. And what this in general does, that you write with everybody who follows you, is you build a connection, you build a relationship. And people whom you're building a relationship with, they're less likely to leave. Chances are, you might even find some people who are going to become your friends or whom you're going to collaborate with. So this is a big chance to reach out, even if you're shy and potentially a bit introverted like me. This is a very safe way to make connections and to build relationships in a fairly quick and easy manner without having to be too directly involved, if you get what I mean. But people really like having a connection to you, and that'll make them stick around longer. It'll make them like your posts. It'll make them leave comments, stuff like that. Build the relationship, invest that bit of time. It's going to be worth it in the long run. So these are the 3 tips that have been working for me. In the last 2-ish months, they've given me about 20 extra followers and quite a bit of extra attention. And it's a start. I'm still building my Instagram following. I have a very small profile. So if you want to follow me, go check it out. Please subscribe, like this video. If you find any of these tips helpful, please write down in the comments. And if you're trying out these tips, maybe return in a few days or weeks and tell us how it's been going for you. Thanks for watching.